In the year 1751, Baltimore was a bustling port town, full of life, ambition, and the scent of opportunity. Amid the cobblestone streets and horse-drawn carriages stood Henry Callister, a man of refined taste and unmatched ambition. Unlike many of his contemporaries who sought fortune in trade goods, Henry had an obsession far rarer than gold or silver: books. Not just any books, but the finest, most ancient volumes he could acquire from across Europe and the colonies. Henry's shop was not merely a place of commerce. It was a sanctuary of knowledge. Shelves upon shelves of finely bound tomes, manuscripts with delicate calligraphy, and first editions of texts that scholars dare to dream of owning. His eyes sparkled with pride whenever he spoke of his collection. Friends marveled, customers envied, and competitors whispered in jealousy. But Henry was no simple collector. He had a plan, a method to ensure his treasures remained his. Hundreds of exquisite bookplates, each bearing the name Henry Callister in ornate script, were designed and printed. These bookplates were not mere embellishments. They were his silent guardians, a reminder to every borrower that these volumes were treasures not to be taken lightly. Yet, what drove Henry's obsession? Was it a love for knowledge, or an insatiable desire for immortality through the preservation of history? Whatever the reason, Baltimore had never seen such a collection, and many speculated that it held secrets beyond imagination. Henry's life was not without its trials. The whispers of his contemporaries were not always admiring. Many viewed him as eccentric, a man out of place in a world driven by commerce and expansion. His obsession consumed him, and many nights found him hunched over his desk, candle flickering, eyes scanning ancient scripts, his quill scratching tirelessly. His friends and associates, both intrigued and exasperated, were drawn into his world. They borrowed books on the guise of intellectual pursuit, yet few returned them. Some claimed to have lost them, others professed to have lent them to others, and some simply vanished into fog of time. But Henry was not to be deceived. Each bookplate served as a beacon, calling back what was his. His collection was not only a symbol of wealth, but of legacy, a testament to a man who would not let his treasures drift into oblivion. Tragedy, however, loomed on the horizon. In 1765, Henry passed away unexpectedly. The man whose life was entwined with books left behind more than just volumes. He left a family burdened with the weight of an empire built on paper and ink. His widow and daughter, faced with the harsh reality of life without Henry, were forced to make an agonizing decision. With no other means of sustenance, they opened a small school for young ladies, hoping to find stability. Yet, the coffers remained empty and the creditors unyielding. Desperation crept in. The decision to sell the collection was not easy. Each book was more than mere paper bound in leather. It was a chapter of history, a fragment of the past, and a piece of Henry's soul. But necessity knows no sentiment. The sale began quietly, almost surreptitiously. One by one, the books were auctioned off to the highest bidder. Scholars, collectors, and opportunists from near and far attended, unaware of the story behind the bookplates that adorned these tomes. Among the collection was one volume more extraordinary than the rest, a copy of the Massachusetts Bay Colony Psalm book. Printed in 1640, it was not merely rare, but legendary. The Psalm book held a significance that transcended its pages. It was believed to contain marginalia by early Puritan settlers, annotations that hinted at their hopes, fears, and visions of the New World. As the books dispersed into private collections, libraries, and dusty attic corners, the Callister name faded from public memory. The carefully placed bookplates became subtle markers of provenance, a whisper of their origin. Yet, no record existed of the final resting place of any book in the collection. It was as if Henry Callister's library had vanished into the annals of time. For over 2 centuries, the story of the Callister collection lingered in whispers. Bibliophiles and treasure hunters alike speculated, searched, and hoped. The promise of uncovering a piece of that enigmatic collection drove some to obsession, while others dismissed it as folklore. In the modern era, dusty archives and forgotten estate sales became the hunting grounds. Every old volume, every peculiar bookplate, ignited sparks of curiosity. Yet, nothing concrete surfaced. The trail seemed to evaporate into nothingness. The Massachusetts Bay Colony Psalm book remained the crown jewel of mystery. Scholars postulated that if it ever surfaced, It would revolutionize historical understanding of early colonial America. The annotated pages might reveal hidden narratives, unspoken truths of the settlers' lives. Amateur historians scoured estate sales, searching for books with a distinct Callister bookplate. Libraries combed through their acquisition logs, hoping to stumble upon a misfiled volume. Antique book dealers kept a keen eye on auctions, ready to seize any chance discovery. But the collection remained elusive until one fateful day. In a small town in Pennsylvania, during an estate sale, a family long forgotten, a dusty chest lay concealed beneath tattered cloth. The new owner, an antiquarian by the name of Samuel Whitaker, had an eye for history. His hands trembled as he pried open the chest, revealing a collection of old, brittle books. Among them, a volume stood out. Its leather binding was worn, its edges frayed, and a single yellowed bookplate declared, Henry Callister. His breath caught. Could it be? Whitaker meticulously examined the book. The familiar scent of aged paper, the faint imprint of Henry Callister's name, and within its pages, handwritten annotations. His heart raced as he recognized the title, the Massachusetts Bay Colony Psalm Book. Word spread like wildfire. Historians, collectors, and the press descended upon Whitaker's find. Experts authenticated the book, verifying the provenance of the bookplate and the rare printing. The annotations, written in archaic script, were carefully transcribed and translated. The content revealed a poignant narrative of early colonial life, tales of hardship, reflections on faith, and even cryptic hints about undiscovered settlements. It was a time capsule of human resilience and religious fervor. This singular rediscovery reignited global interest in Callister's collection. The revelation of the Psalm book rekindled hope. Libraries expanded their searches. Estate sales gained unprecedented attention, and collectors turned over every corner of history. Yet one question loomed. Where were the other volumes? Some believed they had been destroyed, lost to fire, or negligence. Others were certain they lay hidden in private collections, unnoticed and unrecognized. Conspiracy theories emerged, suggesting secret societies guarding collection, protecting knowledge deemed too powerful for the public. For Samuel Whitaker, the rediscovery was only the beginning. He spearheaded efforts to document the find, creating exhibitions and publishing detailed studies on annotations. His mission was not personal gain, but a quest for truth, to piece together the story of Henry Callister and his lost library. Collectors, now driven by the success of the Psalm book, intensified their efforts. Auctions became battlegrounds. Libraries reassessed forgotten archives, and amateur treasure hunters scoured ancestral homes. Perhaps, somewhere in the shadows of time, another volume waits, a hidden legacy yearning to be found. Every dusty old book, every forgotten shelf, every obscure estate sale might hold a key, because when it comes to treasure, not all that glitters is gold. Sometimes it's a forgotten bookplate, a marginal note, a fragile page that whispers the most priceless story of all, the story of human curiosity, preservation, and the undying pursuit of knowledge.